Oh, yeah. Got here with like 3 minutes to spare right here. It's 5:30, so we'll call to order this meeting for Monday, March 22nd. Carl, would you start us off with a roll call, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Present.
Ronayne, Lunsman,
Present.
Reif,
Present.
Johnson,
Present.
Reinbold,
Present.
Langer,
Present.
Rux,
Present.
Mayor Shoneman.
Present. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I understand that we have a slight modification to the agenda before we approve it. In consent calendar, item C, the first item under C will be stricken from the vote here. Other than that, I believe we have no additional changes. Can I get a motion to approve that agenda with that modification?
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilman Johnson. Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the approval of last week's minutes for the meeting of March 15th. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Moved. Second.
Motion from Councilman Lunsman, second from Reif. Does anyone have any changes or anything to add to those minutes? Otherwise, Carl, roll call, please.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. So no one has offered to speak at our open forum. We'll move along to consent calendar. We'll start with, we've got 4 items, each of which have sub-items. We've got hearing dates, we've got bid dates, we've got plats, and accepting reports and minutes from various boards. Can I get a motion to approve these routine city business items?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Rux is our motion, Councilman Lunsman is our second. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. We'll move along to old business. First, we've got the ordinance permitting Class 1 electric bicycles on recreational trails. This would be the second reading and final adoption of that ordinance. I see that Mark's here, but I imagine that nothing has probably changed about this since we voted the first time. So I could take a vote for the second reading if no one's got anything for Mark.
Move to approve. Second.
A motion from Councilman Lunsman, second from Councilman Johnson. Anyone have anything? All right, we'll take our second vote on this thing here. Carl, would you give me a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got our ordinance repealing the age limit for persons fishing at Lake Minnehaha, possible second reading and final adoption of the ordinance on that. And actually, Mark, if you wouldn't mind stepping up to the podium, I did have a couple of concerns from various people within the community, and just want to make sure that this would be something that you guys would be open to, should this pass, reviewing down the road if this causes a lot of grief or trouble or overfishing or that sort of a thing.
What are you looking for? Just,
Yeah, I guess specifically overfishing by adults and kind of edging out room for children enjoying this, which has kind of been the historical.
yeah. You know, I guess we'll just have to, again, as I've said, I've had a couple of calls as well and visited with them, and I think it's just a matter of just seeing how it develops, and see where it goes. I think Game and Fish last week was pretty insistent that they will do what they need to do maintain that level. And again, they've had some success in other communities as well that have had this, so, you know, we might see a lot more pressure on the lake, but on the other hand, I think hopefully we see more pressure from families. We can do some signage out there as well, just encouraging it to be more for that. Hopefully the true sportsmen will want to fish in other lakes and not have to be out there. So, yeah, I'm optimistic that it'll go fine, but we'll just have to monitor it as it goes. And if we have to make some adjustments as a board, we'll do that. And I'm not sure what that would be, but we don't want to endanger our stocking program is what really this is all about. We want to be able to maintain our fish and our stocking. And so we'll have to, you know, as a board, if we have to do some things, we'll do that. But we'll kind of monitor it pretty closely here and just see where it goes. So
Great. Yeah, I think that's, I guess, the best we can do. I think that it's a necessary component to this operation, keeping things moving forward, but we also want to make sure that we're not causing more trouble than we're
absolutely.
solving. So can I get a motion on that second
Move to approve.
reading?
Second.
Motion from Councilman Reinbold, second from Councilman Reif. Kind of took it upon myself to ask some questions there. Does anyone else have anything to add on this? Councilman Johnson.
Just a question that occurred to me. So, Mark, do you envision just shore fishing, or could a person, for example, take out one of the rental canoes and fish from the middle of the lake?
Yeah, they can't have motorized vehicles on the lake, but yeah, they could do that. They
Okay.
could take a canoe out. Whatever laws apply
Mhm.
for the state of South Dakota will apply onto that lake. They'll still have to have their fishing licenses. They'll still have to do that, but it is a non-motorized lake, so they wouldn't be able to take their fishing boat out there. So.
Yeah, I think it'd be a worthwhile discussion maybe at the end of this fishing season to kind of
Yep.
just recount how it all
Absolutely.
went and make sure that things didn't have a dreadful.
Let's see what kind of
Negative
reaction we
reaction.
actually get to the change. So.
Sounds great. All right. We've got a motion in our second. Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. We'll move along to new business. We've got ordinance 21-0303 approving the issuance and provisions for repayment of refunding bond series 2021 for the series 2012A bonds issued for improvement at the water treatment plant. Carl, you're here to tell us all about that.
Thank you, Mayor. We are working with Colliers International to do another refunding. With the interest rates being so low, we're looking at all the different bond issuances that we have and trying to determine which ones would be most beneficial for us to do refundings on. This one came up. It is the tax exempt portion of the bonds that were issued for the water treatment plant improvements. We've already done a reissuance on that once back in 2012. This one, we would save approximately 3.8% net present value, which would amount to over $196,000 in interest savings over the next 5 years. There's no change in the final maturity of the bonds. They will still mature in April 2026.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reif and a second from Councilman Lunsman. I want to start by saying thanks for being financially responsible, Carl. That's good that we're able to save so much money on these things. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Alberts?
I got one. Does it cost anything to refinance them?
Very good question. Typically, when we do a bond reissuance, there are bond counsel costs, the underwriter's discount, ratings cost when we have Moody's or Standard & Poor's do it. With this particular issuance, we are going to be doing a placement of these bonds. So Colliers has gone out and found interested parties, and those interested parties will just each more or less bid for those bonds, and whichever final bid is the best for us is the one that will be accepted. So with that, we don't have we do have the bond counsel costs, but we don't have the ratings costs, and the underwriter's discount is significantly less. So in most instances, we'd be spending around $60,000-$70,000 on an issuance like this. This one should be around $42,000.
Okay, thank you.
And that the savings of $100,000 plus accounted for that $40,000.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you, Carl. Any other questions? Got our motion and second. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote on that, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer, Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the consideration of bridge reinspection program resolution for the South Dakota Department of Transportation for federal funding. Possible approval of that inspection program resolution will be what we're voting upon. Robin is here to tell us about it. Robin, what can you tell us about the bridge reinspection program?
Okay, we do this every year on these two particular bridges, 8th Avenue and 10th Avenue, are load-limited bridges, similar to what we had on 3rd Avenue. We've replaced 3rd, 8th, and 10th. This will need to be done on them every year. DOT pays for 80%. The city is responsible for 20%. It's a few $100s for this type of deal. When we inspect the other bridges, it's a little higher cost, but it's still, you can't beat the price at 20%. We're recommending IMEG, which used to be Clark. That is the only local firm that has offered this service, and so we're recommending IMEG for this particular resolution.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson, second from Councilman Reinbold. Does anyone have any questions on the program or costs or anything like that? Carl,
I have
roll
a
call. Go ahead,
question,
Clint.
Mayor.
What do you-
Of course, we replaced the 3rd Avenue Bridge. Have we heard anything about the 10th Avenue Bridge recently?
We had gone through the process of applying for federal funds to do the design, and we have not been successful yet. We are looking to do probably, and we'll talk about that at a later time, but we're looking at maybe having it bid ready so that we may front end the cost, but then as a bid ready project, we jump up the scale as far as how quickly we can receive those federal funds. So that may be the next step.
Okay, thanks, Robin.
Yep.
Carl, roll call vote.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the recommendation on bids for the street maintenance concrete repair. Possible approval to award the bid to CWF Masonry and the construction amount of $227,891 and to authorize the city manager and finance officer to sign those documents. And Robin, you're still here. You'll tell us about that, please.
I'm still here. Took bids on Tuesday, had 2 bidders. Normally we have a few more, but some of the other bidders were tied up on other projects, so that's the reason for only 2 bids this year. Very competitive bid from Mr. Foley, and this particular project is for the pre-work on the drainage type stuff for curbs and gutters in the area that we do our patching and sealing program by the city street department. So we recommend approval of Mr. Foley's bid of $227,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Lunsman and a second from Councilman Rife. Any questions? Carl, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the recommendation on bids for the annual concrete work and possible approval to award that bid to CWF Masonry as well in the amount of $146,170 and to authorize the city manager and finance officer to sign those documents. Robin, tell us about the annual concrete work.
Once again, 2 bids. This particular project is to do unplanned work as things come up. Street or utility department tears out some curb and gutter as part of a water main project. We need to have some of those things put back together. That's the purpose for this particular project, and it's one that we want to see because it's not a planned deal. We're looking to have this done in a timely manner, so we can't wait until the end of the year to take care of all of them as the year goes on. So these guys are supposed to be working on it. Mr. Foley's done this project for us in the past, and we recommend approval of his bid.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Lunsman and a second from Councilman Reinbold. Any questions on this one? All right, Carl, roll call vote.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the recommendation for bids and the accessible sidewalk quadrant improvements. Possible approval to award that bid also to CWF Masonry and authorize payment of $119,741.14 by the city manager and finance officer once approved. Robin, tell us about the sidewalk quadrants.
Okay, this is the areas of the ramps and the domes at the ends at the corners. We do a bit of these each year as a planned project. You have in the past given us around 200,000, which we've tried to spend. You see the bid at 119,000. This is a unit price contract, so we will, to get as many of these quadrants accomplished as we can, we will take that contract up to the 200,000. We have maybe 2 years left after this year to get all the non-compliant ones done. Then after that, then we'll start moving into the partially compliant, which may be a ramp without the domes or that type of thing. And this is gonna be a forever type thing. You'll never see this project go away. It will be something we have to accomplish as much as we can each year. But we recommend Mr. Foley's bid at 119,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Johnson, and a second from Reinbold. Any questions?
I have a question.
Josh, what have you got?
Robin, in the past, we've talked about the material used for those domes. Some are plastic, so we talked about metal. Where did we land on that? I'm just curious.
We would, it's a catch-22. We have looked at the metal ones, which are gonna be superior durability-wise. We did a survey last year and actually found surprisingly that not as many of them have been damaged as what we had originally thought. They're the ones that are damaged are very visible. The metal ones will cost us about double. So that's the trade-off is instead of 2 or 3 years of work, you'd have 4 or 5, 6 to complete the current work. So it's really, what we've talked about doing is bidding it both ways to see what it would cost installation-wise, because the installation is going to be far more expensive using the metal ones, because they're heavier. They're a lot more difficult to install, but they are more durable. There's no question.
So those plastic guys that are being broken up or as part of this program are being replaced?
Depending on, yes, depending on how severe they are, they will be replaced, yes.
All right, we've got a motion. Second, any other questions? All right, Carl, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the recommendation on bid for the 2021 rodent control services. Possible approval to award that bid to Tim Reed in the amount of $6,250 and to authorize city manager and finance officer to sign those documents. Robin, once again, tell us about Tim's program here.
The initial reason for this, I think, actually, the Parks Department, Mark had utilized this service for trapping, and we were using poisoning in the Public Works Department, and we were not finding that what we were doing was as effective, and the trapping program has been highly effective, and we think this is the way to go. And I thank Mark for leading us to at least look at that process. Mr. Reed has done this for us over the last couple of years, and he's very timely. When we ask him to get on something, he gets after it. This is actually a unit price contract. You'll see the price is $6,250. I would prefer it be stated that it is so much per striped gopher, so much per pocket gopher, because we will utilize it as we need to. And the number ends up being higher than the $6,250. The number of striped gophers and pocket gophers is just to establish a price. So we recommend approval of Mr. Reed's bid.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Ripe and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Any questions on this one? Is there a big difference between pocket and striped gophers, or is just simply the how many of them
The
floating
striped
around here?
gophers are far easier. They're not near as cagey as a pocket gopher, so.
Sounds good.
Would that be accurate? Yeah.
Well, they're $50, so they better be tough. All right, Carl, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the last one here for Robin. We've got a request to purchase a Caterpillar motor grader from the Public Works Snow Removal Department from Butler Machinery. This would be approval to purchase in the amount of $306,050 through Sourcewell bid process. Robin, tell us about that road grader.
Same process as last year. We're thankful that we have the opportunity to purchase more of this equipment. As we purchase more, then we will try to be leasing less equipment, which should lower some of your fixed costs overall. We figured that there was a pretty decent payback. That's why we're looking at doing it this way. In years like this, where we had very little snow removal to do, the lease blades are still costing you a lot of money. You're paying a monthly fee for that blade just sitting there, and this way at least we could put it to a different use during the summer, that type of thing. And some of our older blades are struggling a little bit with those heavy snows like we had 2 years ago. So we think this is a route to go, and we saw the prices come up just a little over 2%. Our last year's bid was around $300,000. This year it's at $306,000. So it's still a reasonable increase. So we recommend approval of this bid.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Does anyone have any questions for Robin on this one? All right then. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote for that purchase?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Thank you very much, Robin. We'll move along to our request to use COVID relief funds reserves allocated for the fire department for the purchase of new portable digital radio. Possible approval to use those funds for the cost of $37,692. And Chief Weig is here to tell us about that.
Yeah, thank you. As stated, I request the authorization to use the COVID relief funds allocated for the fire department to purchase new digital radios. Aberdeen Fire and Rescue is looking at a 2-year plan to convert from the analog system to a digital system. And what that entails is we'd have to change out all of our radio equipment. So to make the process smoother, we'd like to purchase the portable radios in 2021, which would still be capable of being analog. They can switch from analog to digital, so we'll be able to use them right away and get used to their functionality. And then in 2022, the plan is to buy the mobile units for all the ambulances, fire trucks, support vehicles, along with the other infrastructure. So my recommendation is for us to go with this new digital system, which Aberdeen Police Department had switched to over the process of the last few years.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Rife and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Does anyone have any questions for the chief? All right, then, Carl, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the appointment of Anna Oakes and Cameron Prescott to the Business Improvement District 2 Board. This would be approval of those two appointees to that board would be this vote, and I'm sure that you all saw the letter of recommendation from Casey Wiseman in our packets here today. Can I get a motion to appoint those two?
Moved.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Johnson, a second from Councilman Reinbold. Anything from anybody on that one? Otherwise, we will take a roll call vote. Carl.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got our presentation of fourth quarter and end of the year activities update for the CVB from Director Casey Wiseman. Casey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate you allowing me to come to present. I did give out some information ahead of time to the city council members, city manager, and Mayor Shoneman. A secured page that we have on our website for visitaberdeensd.com. And we're going to utilize this secured page to communicate with you guys directly in a more timely fashion. Not that you love seeing my shining face every quarter, but you know, when we're doing good things in the community, we want you guys to know about them as well. So we will utilize this website moving forward in the future to communicate quarterly information, year-to-date information, along with any time the Aberdeen area CVB is caught changing the game in Aberdeen. So in your free time, I encourage you to look at that website and click around and take a look at that information. We're very proud of all the information we're putting together, and especially us trying to be more visible in the community, changing the game for Aberdeen. Obviously, you know, Aberdeen is first and foremost in our hearts, and we're trying to increase the exposure on Aberdeen to not only visitors but Aberdeen residents, in the hopes that those Aberdeen residents might utilize our services to host a meeting or host a reunion or something along those lines. So the information is there. I will not follow, presentation will not follow the information directly tonight, unfortunately, just for the sake of your time. I do have information put together here. I'll try to answer any questions as we go along, or if you feel so inclined, please reach out. Website traffic, year to date for the Aberdeen CVB, we were up 20% in users and new users. Our sessions were up 20%. So with looking at 2020 as a whole, obviously let's always try to keep in mind, unfortunately, we had to deal with COVID in Aberdeen. So as we go through these numbers, try to bear with me at times. But to see our users and our new users and sessions go up for the year, that's good to see. You know, obviously people I think are under the impression that in 2020 they can't necessarily travel. So let's use this time to plan that travel. Hopefully we can catch them at a later date. Social media, looking at our social media platform, Facebook, we were up. Our likes, followers, our reach and impressions were up 3.8%. Our follows were up 4.3%. And obviously some of these are the goals that you guys have put forth for when we request promotional funds throughout the year. We always try to achieve those goals and exceed those as well. Instagram was up 22%. Twitter was up almost 2%. On the Hunt Fish side of things, that's our hunting platform, as you all know. Our followers were up almost 4%. Our likes were up almost 4%. Followers for Instagram were up almost 8.5%. And our followers on Twitter were up about 0.3%. I have to work on Twitter a little bit more. But they do say find that social media platform that works for you and hit that hard. So those are our 2019 versus 2020 social media numbers. We did also track numbers with South Dakota Tourism through a program called Arrivalist. And Arrivalist for 2020 tracked 347,529 trips to Aberdeen. These trips came from Sioux Falls at 211,000, Minneapolis at 58,000, Fargo, Valley City at 38,000, Bismarck, Minot at 17,000, and then we averaged out with Rapid City and Sioux City. So these are people that have been exposed to our message or our brand or our marketing, whether it's digital, print, social media. Somehow they were exposed to our marketing. And this program, Arrivalist, through South Dakota Tourism, is able to track them. Not only do they come to Aberdeen when they're here for their vacation or reunion or meeting or sporting event or whatever it might be, but also they're cross-visiting on their way home. So they're stopping in Sioux Falls, Watertown, Mitchell, Brookings, Pierre, and Rapid City on their way back home. So they're using Aberdeen as their final or their peak destination, and these are some of the other destinations they're traveling to on their way home. So any questions on those at all? Yes, Josh.
I'm wondering, Casey, what do you attribute the increase in 2020 due to less people traveling and everything else going on? The increase over 19, I'm just curious.
Well, I'm going to hit that right now. But thank you for asking that. No. What do we see the increase? I mean, obviously when times were low, they were really low. Our occupancy numbers for March, April, May, June, July were really low. August, September, October, November, December, and this January, we were actually above the same month last year. So August through December, our occupancy was up over 2019. January was up over 2020. So that's good to see. That late season push, I don't know if it has contributed to some social distancing and some outdoor events that were held. It could be contributed to pheasant hunting. It could be attributed to our marketing message that we're putting in place that late season as well. But Aberdeen was fortunate enough to secure some federal funding as well. We were able to secure DMO, Destination Marketing Organization funding. We were able to secure a federal grant. Originally, we were allocated $80,000. It was a very unique situation because the money that we were allocated through this federal grant, we not only had to schedule, utilize, invoice, one and done, completed by the middle of November to the end of December. So it really gave that late fourth quarter a really hard push focus, and Aberdeen was able to utilize that. So we did things a little differently. They wanted to push the message of just COVID information. Not only did we do that, because that was part of the requirement, is we had to direct people to a website page on the Visit Aberdeen website, which gave out COVID information, safe practices, safe travel, that sort of information. But we twisted it, as Aberdeen does, we twisted it just a little bit different. We thought not only are we going to push this message out there, we didn't want to be one and done by the end of December. We wanted that money to utilize, to work harder for us going into January, February, March. So we gave the message of when the time is right to travel, plan your vacation, plan for Aberdeen. When the time is right to hunt, plan your hunt, hunt in Aberdeen. So we added that message along with our focus. So I think that's what contributed to those higher increases, especially late season, but that website traffic as well. So I think that was part of it. With that funding, like I said, we were allocated $80,000 through South Dakota Tourism and the federal grant. Not only did we spend that money very well, but they actually reached back out to us and said, there's additional funding available. Could you use some more? I'm like, heck yeah, I'll use some more. So I said, what are we talking here? Now is the chance to negotiate. So he goes, what are you thinking you could spend? I said, 20, we could probably do another 20. I got that in my back pocket, some avenues where we could spend that. He goes, well, we'll send you 50. So we were able to secure $130,000 in federal grant funding, but it was such, like I said, such time constraints that it had to be utilized. I mean, we couldn't buy billboards that would roll into 2021. You just couldn't do that. But it had to be run and done and invoiced by December 30th. And I think we really hit a home run. Catherine in our office and Layton did amazing things in the week and a half that they had to make this turn around. So what did we do with this money, you ask? We took out full-page ads in Covey Rise magazine promoting hunting. We worked with Dakota News Now with a weather app that just hit a home run out of the park. A weather app in November and December in South Dakota, who wouldn't use that? So we were selling the message of plan your vacation, plan for safe travel, plan for Aberdeen. Hub City Radio, CF Digital. We had South Dakota Public Broadcasting, Dakota Broadcasting, South Dakota Magazine, Layton Broadcasting, Marshall Radio, Forum Communications. The Forum Communications was kind of unique for us. What we did is we bought an insert and inserted it right into their newspaper. So looking at November, December, obviously pheasant season went into January this year. Our first message was plan your hunt, plan for Aberdeen. And then after that, we thought, well, that worked out amazing. The phones rang off the hook immediately. So we thought, well, let's do one for vacation as well. So we did an insert, which was distributed in places like Bemidji and Fargo and Grand Forks and that northeast area of Aberdeen, hoping we would increase that traffic, and it did. It worked really well. We placed ads in the Bismarck Tribune, 605 magazine. We tried to get into the Aberdeen magazine with Troy McQuillan, but we missed the publication deadline by like 1 day, and I begged for him to hold up, but he couldn't do it. And then 50,000 of that we had to spend with Lawrence and Schiller. That was part of the agreement with South Dakota Tourism. Of that 130, 50 of it had to be spent with Lawrence and Schiller. And with that, we reached impressions of just under 10 million impressions for Aberdeen, 9,628,000. Again, this is trafficking in, I shouldn't use the word trafficking, that's bad. This is advertising in November and December, heavily advertised. When you can have impressions of, 600,000 for a campaign, a native campaign, social media of almost 3 million, display advertising of almost 3.5 million. That's, again, it was free money that we were able to utilize. Working with our South Dakota rep, Calvin, with South Dakota Tourism, I grilled him pretty hard because I've never worked with federal grants before, and let me tell you, that's a lot of fun. But I was able to basically whittle it down to, Calvin, I mean, this is free money we get to work with. It's COVID related, sending the message of, plan for that safe travel, plan your trip, plan for Aberdeen. But to be able to take that message and spin it to our benefit really worked well. So that's something that we are waiting to our fourth quarter or end of the year to give you guys that information, but we were really excited that we were able to participate in that. So any questions on that DMO funding at all?
How many communities took part in that around
everybody and their dog, yeah. All the big hitters, and basically it was based on your 3-year peak, 3-year vacation season budget. So we had to put together our 3-year average, and obviously they were able to give us more than that. Had I known, we'd have asked for more right out of the gates because we could have easily spent it. But just the time constraints was what was working against you. Every minute forward was a minute backwards off the back end, and it was tough to accomplish, but we got it done. So, but yeah, every community in Aberdeen, every community in the state took part of it. Yeah. The highs and lows of 2020. Obviously, there were some big events that were held in 2020. Obviously, the BMX Nationals. You guys have your plaque on the wall. Again, thank you for your participation in that. I have 2 of those plaques, just so you know. Just kidding. I actually do, though. There was also the South Dakota State Trap Shoot, which was held in Aberdeen, and largest attendance they've ever had, since hosting that. And obviously, a lot of that was Minnesota traffic that had nothing to do, was able to come over. obviously BMX, hockey tournaments, South Dakota Disc Golf, Trappers Association. All of those events, we're towards the later end of the season. And that could, again, contribute to those numbers. Unfortunately, we did have to track the negative side of things. And, looking at the economic impact lost due to COVID and cancellations, when you have to cancel State B basketball and Family Fun Weekend and Arts in the Park and that stuff, it adds up in a hurry. So we track those COVID numbers, and we still track those today. But we use an economic multiplier, and we use a single multiplier and a family multiplier. So if you have State B basketball, you'd think of a single multiplier as just the athletes themselves. It's not. It's the families that come along with those athletes. So we were tracking COVID estimated impact loss due to COVID. Our single multiplier was at 5,098,000, and our family multiplier was at 5,835,000. So we're estimating close to $10 million of economic impact lost due to COVID. And as Carl knows, I can't hang my hat on those numbers because there's no true science to this. But when we base events off attendees, whether those attendees bring family, whether they stay overnight, we have numbers that go along with that information. We always err on the low side. We estimate hotel stays at $90. We estimate daily spending at about $60 per person. So we try to err on the side of caution. We don't want to inflate any numbers as well. So any questions on Fund COVID at all? Obviously you guys participated in that as well. Future events, which we're excited about. Obviously hockey tournaments, Snow Queen Festival, the Dakota Tory Gun Show that just happened. Oh my God, you couldn't find a place to park in Target or anywhere along those two hotels during that event. The NCAA basketball tournament, which Aberdeen was just gracious enough to host with NSU and the CVB working to bid that sporting event. South Dakota State Bees, which just happened last weekend. There's a lot of things on the books that are coming in for 2021 that were not there for 2020. And looking at 2022 and 23 is going to be even bigger yet. So we're excited. We want to see those occupancy numbers grow each month. We want to see those occupancy numbers beat last year's numbers. And if we can even beat a 10-year average, that'd be even better yet. But there's some big events on the horizon. We have clay target championships, high school clay targets, state trap. Obviously, we're bidding for BMX again in 2022. So we got that on the books as well. There's just a lot of things out there that we want to put a check mark by, but just we're working hard to do that yet. Any questions on future events at all? I know it's kind of not necessarily the fourth quarter, again, end of the year, but I did allude to this a little bit earlier. Looking at our numbers for, like I said, August, September, October, November, and December were above last year's totals for the month at the same time. Obviously, we know what happened to February, March, April, May, and June, and July. Those were tough months, but I think we rebounded really well. Our occupancy was down, according to our numbers that we receive, was down 19.94% from last year. And I think industry standards, from what I'm hearing from my counterparts, is anywhere from 20% or higher. So I'd like to think that we did a really good job to rebound towards the end of the year of 2020. Obviously, we would like to always negative. We'd never like to see the negative numbers, but unfortunately, with 2020 having to deal with that, they're there. So, the Hotel Alliance side of things, looking at 2020, and Justin can weigh in on this. I thank him for attending the meetings and Ms. Tiffany Langer for attending our CVB meetings. The Hotel Alliance funded a lot of events for 2020. There was the Knights of Columbus convention, State B ads, State B itself, Trappers Association, but special events like Special Olympics, the Aberdeen University Civic Symphony, Youth Wrestling, Hardball, Pheasants Forever, their Pheasant Coalition, the Aqua Addicts, the Gun Club, BMX, South Dakota Karting Club, which has stole the South Dakota Karting Championship away from Brookings forever now. So that's really cool to see that happen. Hard work on those individuals. And numerous other events. So totaling out all the expenses with the Hotel Alliance trying to bring in events and host events, they spent just under $70,000 in 2020. So again, thank them for their hard work, for making events happen in Aberdeen and allowing events to grow and thrive as well. So again, I want to refer you guys back to that website, that secured web page. I would encourage you guys to look at that. We're very proud of the information we're putting on there, especially when we're caught changing the game. It's always good to see positive news happen in Aberdeen, and we like being part of that. So that's all I have. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to try to entertain them.
Well, I'll be the first to say good job, Casey. I know it was a really tough year, and I had been asked by 2 event coordinators over the course of the year where to get started, and I sent them both over to Casey, and they both had really successful events. So
yeah,
with Casey's help. So
and I
nice
believe
work with
that disc golf one is happening again this year too. So we're excited.
That's a great deal.
And really, all it takes is, by all means, connect people with us. We'll do the dirty work. You know, we'll dot the I's and cross the T's. We lead them in the directions they need to go. We answer any questions they have. If they have funding issues, we try to work with them with the Hotel Alliance. We really do take care of them from start to finish. And we appreciate what you guys do to help us make that happen as well. So with that, on a side note, we did move into our new location over in the Malchows Plaza, 506 South Main Street. We are located in the Anchors of Faith building. That building was still standing, and we moved into that area there. I would love to encourage you guys to stop by and come visit us and take a look. It's different being on downtown Main Street trying to find a parking spot now. It's a little bit of fun at times, but we make it work. But we're excited for the new location. We're excited to see what will happen in the plaza, and to have that right in our backyard now to participate in that will be great. So obviously you'll see more videos from Catherine coming out of our office. I know Joe loves those. You'll see those happening in our office already. Again, those will make our page for where we're get caught changing the game. So we just want you guys to participate in the fun and excitement that we're having at the CVB, and welcome you to stop by.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate your presentation.
Great respect for what you and your team accomplished the second half of last year, Casey.
It was nice to try to pull out those numbers towards the end of the year. Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move right along. Thank you again, Casey. We'll move right along to our review and approval of the claims and payroll. First, we've got our bills, which would be the approval of the bill list for March 22nd, and the payroll would be from the period of March 14th through March, and then it doesn't even, 27th. And for the city's share of Social Security, old age, and survivors insurance, retirement, health, and life insurance. Can I get a motion to make those payments, please?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Councilman Lensman is second from Councilman Reinbold. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote?
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the city manager's report. Joe, what have you got for us?
Just a couple things, but I want to follow up on Casey's comments a little bit. Some of these bigger events, something we're not necessarily following is how many people are watching them on television. So we know the NCAA tournament was viewed by several folks, as is the Bees. But something that's kind of a little known fact, but since I kind of like disc golf, I'm horrible at playing it. I like to design courses. But that tournament that Casey mentioned was also, it's a YouTube video. You can go on YouTube and put South Dakota Disc Golf, and our course and commentary about this tournament is out there. And so this is an up-and-coming sport with young folks, and when they see it on YouTube, they're intrigued to find those courses and go to them. So that was an extra added bonus. But those are fun things that those big events bring with them oftentimes now. And then one other thing, it's the time of year where we're hiring for seasonal positions, lots of seasonal positions, and really to target the young adults, some folks that might want to make a little extra money during the summer. We have some positions that 15-year-olds can apply for. Some have a minimum age of 16 and some 18. So for those young adults want to get out of the house a little bit, make some extra money, those university students coming home for the summer, we've got some openings. They are filling fast. Started kind of slow, but they're going quickly. So if you haven't gotten your application in, we encourage you to do that. That's all I have.
And I'd like to make note that there was a hire sign on the water park this year. So exciting things there. Anyone else have anything to add before we move to adjourn? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
A motion, Councilman Johnson, and a second, Councilman Lunsman. Carl, last roll call vote of the evening, please.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Remley,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.